I imagine walking down the center aisle with Hayley Muth at Lincoln Center to see the New York City Ballet. We're late, of course, but Hayley's laughter and hushed excuse-me's as we make our way across the front row disarm even the toughest New Yorkers. Just as we take our seats, the concert hall goes quiet. Jared Angle, one of the world's greatest ballet dancers, drifts across the stage, mesmerizing us with his silky mastery. And then, without warning, he performs a scintillating and impossible grand jeté that catches the collective breath of every audience member. Everyone except Hayley, who roars, "Yeah!" like she's at a Knicks game. Hayley, at the ballet, has begun. I can't imagine walking with Hayley into Instagram's corporate headquarters in New York, where she works as a product manager. There, in the open office concept with foliage climbing up the walls and glowing neon art, I see a contrast in so many ways to this talented dancer from Boulder, Colorado, who once worked every part of her body to master her craft and now sits in rooms collaborating to create Instagram's latest product. Hayley has managed to thrive in both contexts by recognizing different parts of her identity. That of a dancer, a creative thinker, and someone who joyfully adapts. It's all part of what she calls the Venn diagram within herself. On the ampersand, we call this bringing together of the impossible the alchemy of anding. Together, we'll hear stories of humans who imagine and create by colliding their interests. Rather than thinking of and as a simple conjunction in that conjunction-junction kind of way, we will hear stories of people who see and as a verb, a way to speak the beautiful when you intentionally let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. As St. Mary Oliver asks, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Oh, I love this question. When I'm mothering, creating, and collaborating, it reminds me to replace a singular idea of what I think I should become with a full sensory verb about experiencing. I'm Erika Randall, and this is Hayley Muth on the ampersand.
God, that's so interesting. I think the funny way that it resonates with me has to do with what I was just saying about how it's a Venn diagram for me. I'm like professional woman, but also a dancer, and it overlaps in some funny ways, like if I'm stretching on a Zoom call and I can't hide it. But I have been so pulled into the professional woman circle for especially the past 4 or 5 years that anding, I'm like poisoned by the corporate talk. I'm like, why, Erika, you mean work-life balance?
No. No. There is no work-life balance. This is a fable, a myth sold to us. I want to know about anding.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is like, it's like my whole life, I try to keep it in balance. So that's kind of how it sits with me. You know, it's like, it's very important to me that I have my dance time every week, as physically painful as it is becoming. And I have to like really keep that boundary and call it work-life balance to the corporate people.
Part of what's interesting to me is how you can live in corporate and be incorporated in your body. Yeah. So this corporal word that sits in both of those words is super weird. And I want to hear how do you navigate that?
I have to keep a line. Some of it is a bit performative in the corporate world because I'll just say like, I have a conflict and like, actually I'm just hopping out to ballet class, or I just took a beginning tap class for 6 weeks. So I had to leave early every Friday. And so it's like, from the outside, it doesn't look like anding. It's like actually over there with the corporate people, it breaks their brains a little bit. And they're like, work-life balance. Yes. Okay. Block your calendar. And then you go do your other life stuff. But for me, it's like, so who I am, and I cannot separate it. And like the creativity that I learned in school helps so much every single day. And it's not like everybody learns critical thinking in college, but I think we got to learn critical creative thinking.
Yes.
That to me is like anding,
yes,
you know?
100%.
And that it's like that kind of thinking I can bring into corporate world quite a bit.
And I would think they want that, right? When you're imagining new product, when you are trying to be ahead of the next, improvisational thinking in the body, you don't even know what you're about to do while you're doing it. And that's kind of where your brain / the boundaries have to get pushed out to. And so I would think it would be a natural for a dancer to be in the work that you're doing in some ways, but I also hear you in the way that it is seen as other in your world.
Yeah, but they don't realize, like, I can't even remember if I heard this from you or someone else. It might have even been like Amy Kenny at Boulder Bodywear, who I worked. Was it called Boulder Bodywear? Yeah, I worked for her for 4 years, and she was like, always hire a dancer. I agree. Always hire a dancer. You are thinking ahead. You're creative. You're dedicated. You're a hard worker. You take feedback. Like, dancers are superhumans. Martha Graham, athletes of God, but also, like intellects of God too, I swear. I agree. I think it's like they don't know what they're getting when they hire a dancer. I don't work with anyone else who has any kind of creative background. They come from business, MBAs, computer science, etc. And I think they get a little uncomfortable in like the uncertainty and the riffing.
Because did you have that confidence when you went into tech worlds? Did you have that dancer confidence? Did you have all that named and all that knowing about anding in your body when you started moving into these kind of corporate systems?
Oh man, no. I mean, my life has been really weird. I don't think that I've been decisive or intentional or in charge until very recently, because it was a lot of reaction and survival and let's just left turn out of necessity. Like, we gotta go figure out something else. So I think it took me a long time, and I wouldn't say that imposter syndrome ever plagued me in the early days. Now it certainly does, but in the early days it was more like I was an explorer in a new world, and what do we do here? What are the rules? Who am I? You want me to work for you? Okay, what do you want me to do? Yeah, I'll do that. Like I said, hire dancers because they're like, yeah, I'll do it.
Even though others don't come from the arts necessarily, do you see anding at play when there's something that's working?
It's so funny. That's like fully what product management is, actually. Product management is about the intersection of design, data, and engineering. You cannot do one without the other. But what's fun is like, I come from none of those worlds. So I'm like, hello, let me add another little circle. So already the anding magic is happening. And that is probably why I ended up actually really liking this career path. I mean, we can talk about that more later because is there an existential crisis underneath it? Absolutely. But I just saw that it's kind of like making a soup, and there's just all of these ingredients flowing around in it, and throwing in another type of brain doesn't hurt at all. It helps. We should have more diversity of thought. Absolutely.
Yes, testify to that. I think that's what the goal of our world here in this podcast bubble is, to spark folks to say, hey, I'm into that. I'm into this and that. Oh, wait, I'm into this, that, and the other thing. And that creates new ideas that maybe, I don't know, that just weren't valued or that weren't seen as of value inside of oneself. So it's like secretly a self-help podcast, because it's like a way to help folks get through this existential crisis, whether it means falling more in love with what they're doing or changing lanes to something else, because you can and your way into that. And that's what I see in you, is you came to New York as a dancer, and then you say there wasn't a lot of intentionality, but you always, it seems, said yes, and then you always kicked ass and kept anding. Or I see a gesture of maybe didn't always kick ass, maybe failed, maybe did some failing. Did we learn from the failing? Like, what were some and failures?
Woo! Did we ever learn from failing? Yeah. I think it's way more complex when you zoom in, but zoomed out, my identity journey was like, I was only a dancer. And then I only worked in tech. And now I'm finding balance. But the reason I think that the balance is coming to me now later in life is because it was all of the things were already in there. So I think being comfortable with being more than one thing is a very new revelation to me. A big turning point for me, actually, I think was after the lane change and oh my God, I need a job and health insurance because I just tore every ligament and tendon in my ankle. I abstained from going to shows. I was like, because obviously depression, I was just destroyed. And had been a depressed person my entire life anyways. So put that type of adversity on top of your dream and your perceived single identity, and you're just destroyed. So I was like, I cannot even go to a show. I won't do it. And I would go maybe to like some downtown stuff, and I'd be like, oh, I know all these people. I was at that audition. I didn't get it. She didn't deserve it. And it was toxic energy leaking out of my pores. So I was like, won't. Need a break. So then that's when I shifted to quote unquote one identity. I'm just going to go work in tech. Sure. It's like cute that I was a dancer or whatever, worked at ClassPass. The founder was a dancer. There were some of my roots still there, got a free unlimited membership. Loved that. Did I go to Pilates every single day? Yes. So some of it was still there. Started taking hip hop classes with my coworkers, and they were like, "You're really good." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, let's not talk about it."
Wow, you really buried that.
Buried it. Yeah.
Even though it could have, or did it still help you at work and help you ascend?
You know what? I didn't know it, but absolutely. Dancing to me is problem solving. How do I get from point A in space to point B in space in a given amount of time? And we have powerhouse problem solving brains. So I really, really tamped it down because I was hurt and I felt like a traitor. It was the dancer who left dance for a desk job. The worst thing you could possibly do. But I started to heal because honestly, given my life and what I had been through, there were certain things that I really needed, like a stable paycheck, changed my life. Absolutely changed my life.
Yeah, that's not selling out, eating and having insurance. I think that's a challenge for artists.
Okay. I was going to say, you know what else? Health insurance, that was a game changer. Also, like letting loose a little bit. Oh, I don't have to get up for a dance class in the morning, so I'm going to go out. Drink a lot, go dancing quite often. Yeah, totally. And I think I started to actually heal a little bit by busting myself open a bit. And then I really started to heal. And the dancer circle came back out of the fog when I met another person at ClassPass who was just like a diehard ballet fan, had been a dancer when she was a teenager, and she was just like, let's go see Swan Lake. New York City Ballet, Sarah Mearns is dancing. I'm obsessed with her to this day. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. We treated it like it was our sports team. We shouted when Tyler Peck did this incredible triple down to the knee. Because we were in orchestra too. We were like, yes. And I can't even tell you how much she and that performance and all of that just healed me. And then I realized it's really going to make you laugh. Just like a ballerina at heart, that's just,
I know.
Sorry. I know. Tried.
I know. You can take you out of Boulder and put you back in New York, but you can't take the ballet out of the girl.
You cannot. So I just became super duper New York City Ballet diehard fan. I know this was probably 5-6 years ago. Now, I'm a member, I am a subscriber, all of that. I know them like my sports team and everything. And that healed me and brought the dancer self back into my life so much. And it was time that it needed. I mean, you're right. It was always all in there, but I think there's no coincidence that when dancer self came back into my life, my career, my other part started to take off. It was like, power up. Okay. Authentic self, form, assemble.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that, Hayley. And so this is what's so incredible, right? When you're studying dance as an undergrad and then you move to the big bad and you're going to take it over and you're going to just eat that apple and just get it all. And then it doesn't go exactly. And then it goes worse than not exactly.
Mm.
And then it returns from the fog. And then it's there for you, right? And you're there for it. And then now you have this capacity that is limitless and that is in this like just this space of what's possible. So what do you see is possible for Hayley? How do you see yourself anding into the future? What do you think?
Yeah, God, such a good question. My theme for this year is absolutely think big, expand yourself, and what else? Push the boundaries. And I think it was probably earlier this year, I started calling myself a creative person for the first time. Yeah, your jaw just dropped. I know. Probably for the first time ever, or at least since college. Yeah.
Okay, at least since I was your teacher.
She
says.
Maybe, but the Pashmina.
With the Dean Pashmina.
Maybe, but I don't really remember myself like as a cool, I don't know. Maybe it's just I didn't use that label, something, but that never, and certainly as a teenager when I was in the like ballet episode 1, season 1 of like, okay, I'm a ballerina. That to me is like technical.
Yeah, you were a technician.
Solving. I was a technician.
Oh, you were an engineer.
Yeah, totally. Yes. Of the body, of the space, of the point shoes. I didn't ever think of myself as an artist. Or is ballet artistic? Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. I am so passionate about it. And I see that now. And I was an artist, but that's just never been something in the front of my mind. So I think going into the future, I have this powerful word to add to my stew, which is like creativity. I'm a creative person. You know, I hope that even expands into more. Like, sure, I have a cool rhythm now of, you know, I've got my professional lady circle. I've got my absolute ballet diehard fan nerd circle, but I want to add more. And I think now that I feel like a creative person, it's not just one creative outlet. It was baby steps, you know, it was like, okay, my creative outlet will be going to ballet class, expressing myself with the music, because that just like gives me chills even thinking about it. That is my soul right there. But there's other ways to express as well. And I am, like you said, I haven't been called a writer in forever, like a writing human being. I'm trying to bring that back into my life now too. And I really like want a third career as a novelist, just really do.
Okay, I want to read that book already. Sign me up, because Hayley, I remember, just the way that you always have had this kind of hilariously dark sense of humor that you've held inside of hard times, hard things, but there's been humor to it. There's been a way that it kind of there's like an engine, like this, the edge that you have that maybe does feel more comfortable in New York than in Boulder. But
yeah,
I love how when we were talking pre-show, you talked about being a transplant and from Boulder to New York. And you said something about how Boulder felt to you.
Yeah. Boulder was, I was the organ that was rejected from the body.
And just even that
compatible.
Yeah, it was not compatible. And just the way that you put the body and language, humor and creativity together. That's it to me. That's everything. And that's where I spark to humans who have that capacity. It doesn't have to, you're quick fire, you're rapid fire, similar to somebody else I know.
Yeah, where do I get that from?
I don't know. Maybe you learned it from me, kid. But I don't think so. I think that was always in you. And we can all operate in different tempos, but I think it's from that space of what are you curious about? And you talked about curiosity and creativity. And that's the stuff, right? Like that's the really good stuff that turns out the next and the new and the not normal. And thank goodness for that.
Totally. You gotta have, you box yourself in when you're not curious. And I think you add more circles to your now growing Venn diagram when you're curious about stuff and you expand who you are. And that's just life. Uh-oh, the existential crisis is coming. But I think that's just life. Do you see that the dark cloud just
But
came up?
I didn't see a dark cloud. Actually, I didn't see crisis. I saw like wonder. I saw that there's the sky kind of part a bit that you just keep. Yeah. Like, what if it wasn't a crisis? What if it's just a curious?
Right. Yeah. Because we're not really trying to solve anything. We're just trying to live and incorporate all these sides of ourselves and possibilities.
That's right. And so then that, see, I'm feeling so good talking to you, my friend. Okay, I have a question for you though. Are there ways that you and when you wish you would only?
It's the being present stuff. Like I'm sure every single person that you talk to will say this, because I think that anding is really rich on the large scale. Everything we just talked about. More creativity, more skills, more vocations, more things and that celebrate different sides of yourself. So I think that absolutely. But then like day to day, we all just get so mad at ourselves for picking up the phone and going on Instagram where ironically I work. Like I'm aware. It's just so frustrating that the attention economy is just really frustrating. And I know that's a very generic answer. I'm sure that everybody you talk to says that, but that's one reason though I love going to ballet class. Never, ever am I so present. Music, the problem solving, the placement, the pelvic floor, okay, the rotator, okay, the shoulder. It's just like everything. It's so hard. It's just so complicated that it helps me focus because I rarely get that outside in my life just every day, and part of it is like maybe even the dark side or the downside to curiosity is like a typical like chaos moment for me where I should be oring or should be onlying rather than anding is I'm like sitting at my computer, like should kind of be paying attention to this meeting or maybe should kind of be doing like a single track task elsewhere. And then I'm like, oh, you know what I could do? Wait, I'm going to look up this. I have an idea. Wait, what if I did that? Okay, I have another idea. Okay, maybe later we're going to do this. Okay. And then next thing you know, I've like bought tickets to The Cursed Child on Broadway, which did happen. I saw that last night. Yeah, it doesn't always end me up in a bad place. I will say that because I like to do things and I like to experience things. And sometimes you just can't contain that moment of inspiration that may hit whenever. So it's like, it's still just like, I annoy myself with it. And I wish we could all find more focus. Even like going to shows. Yeah, I'm so passionate about taking that time to go see it. And there have been some lately where I'm like, wow, I just missed her whole little variation. I came all the way to Lincoln Park.
Another story on top of what you were seeing, that palimpsest that can happen in live performance or live time.
Yeah, and maybe even a bad one too, like thinking about a tough meeting I had today at work or something. I was like, but wait, she just landed like so many turns and I think I missed it. So I need to meditate.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah, but I also see that there are those moving meditations, right? I think taking class is one of them for me. Teaching drops me into my presence. Recently I've been biking to work and I was telling producer Tim that leaving my phone in a bag away from my human body is just the best gift, and just riding a bike to work instead of making 5 phone calls. Yeah. So as much as I'm a fan of the and, it's real to only.
It feel very, very overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah. It can. I do like your image of it from this meta perspective, this larger perspective, from like the way that we're thinking about work or maybe a new special sauce. Then we want to be anding. But when can we be where we are? Okay, now we're gonna do a thing. We're gonna do the quick and dirty, and it has to be quick, but it doesn't have to be dirty. Are you ready? I need you to give me the first 5 words that come into your mind that have and in them.
Okay. Why rock and roll? What?
Well, you said rock and roll, so it had and in it.
I
Okay.
know, but why?
This is just a thing. This is go.
Top and bottom, left and right. Good and bad, up and down. It's all directional. It's spatial.
Okay, I love it. I love it. This is so not how. No, I love it. I love it. Spatial. Okay, now to rock and roll. Give me the name of a band or some names of bands that have "and" in them. I'm seeing one of them tonight at Red Rocks.
You are? What is it?
Iron and Wine.
Iron and Wine.
I know.
I just wanted a hint. There's one. Iron and Wine.
There's a hint. Okay, now you give me one.
Oh my God. Christine and the Queens, my favorite.
Boom.
Absolute favorite.
That was not quick or dirty. Next one's got to be faster.
Nope.
Okay, we're going into the anding wardrobe. Okay, you're putting on an outfit. You're gonna wear and. What are you wearing?
Oh my God, I'm gonna wear shorts and heels.
Yes, Queen. Okay, I want to know about food or beverage combos that you create that are specific to you. You know, in the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup invention / world, Erika with the gummy bears and Chardonnay. How does Hayley eat her ands?
Oh. Oh my God, gummy bears and Chardonnay is good. I think it is. I hate cooking.
Did I say cooking? I said gummy bears and Chardonnay, where green is a fruit. Think of ordering. Don't think of cooking. Think of ordering. You're a New Yorker. What do you
ordering.
get? Yeah.
Well, I think French fries and beer because I have a bro streak.
I love a bro streak. And I like French fries and anything.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah.
I think they pair with everything. Give me something they don't and with.
Try it. Listeners at home, right now, even try to imagine a world that doesn't pair with French fries. Nobody can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
They can write to Tim, the producer, if they think of something.
Okay, great.
Tim will take those calls. Okay. Okay, I've got are there other anders or anding that inspires you? Like I think about Loie Fuller being a chemist and the way she created fabric and light that was luminescent and transformed the dance field. For you, are there folks that you're working with or that you see around you or in the ballet that are anding in ways that really get you excited?
You know, I think it's been a lot of my friends, actually. It's been, I find the inspiration there. I like to look at how they spend their free time. I've been, quote, free time, because it's not, you have to segment your time, but it's not actually segmented like that as deep in your soul. So I've just been really, really inspired by people who in my life work, grind, whatever you want to call it, in New York. And then they are writing, they are painting, they are writing poetry. It's really cool. I look to my close community actually to be like, oh,
yeah,
we contain multitudes.
Yes, there you are, universe. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just inspired me a lot lately.
I love
to
that.
Look to my people. Yeah.
Especially when you're surrounded by stars and then when you get to see them actually as a full-bodied constellation. It's a gift. Yeah,
I have one friend in particular. She works as like an accountant. She's also just graduated from NYU with her MFA in playwriting. And I'm like, how are you? She always sends me her plays to write. I'm like, that's genius. And you can like crunch a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Damn, that's inspiring.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. That's the best.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up here with a closing question.
Yes.
I'm thinking about proverbial advice. Now that we're turning and into a verb, we're going to get into this proverb space of the proverbial advice, the Irish blessing, and I hope the road rises to meet you, or like the last thing you would say if you were a graduation speaker at the end of the litany, and read more poetry, or and wear more sunscreen. What would your blessing be?
It's something like, yes, and. Yes, and. When an idea comes up, yes, and. Be a yes, and person. Try being a yes, and person.
The Ampersand is written and produced by me, Erika Randall, and Tim Grassley. If there are folks you'd like to hear from on The Ampersand, do please email us at asinfo@colorado.edu. Our theme music was composed and performed by Nelson Walker, a CU Boulder alum, brilliant cellist, composer, and a fantastic dancer. Episodes are recorded at Interplay Studios in Boulder, Colorado. I'm Erika Randall, and this is The Ampersand.